Oh dear, sloppy bit of disc jockey work from me there. I'm sorry about that. Hello everybody. Good to see everyone logging in already. Hello Hugh. Hello Alan. Hello Arnie, of course. Oh, I better put the microphone there. Hello, let's hope you can see me. Yay! Sorry, I'm a bit bedraggled there and no chance to smart myself up being out climbing mountains, mounds. I'm trying to get this lined up on me. Stop moving on. Oh no, it's me moving. Alright, hopefully I fit in the picture. Right, okay, everybody. Just giving people a chance to log in. We've got people joining us all the time. And slightly different event this week. Got loads to report. And go through all those things, give a good update. And then some of the things people have done during the week. And the first thing is some rather sad news to pass on. And yeah, this is the... sorry, there's a bit of a shock here for Arnie, as I just realised it's a bit... this is not a good... I warned you that... it's a very close friend of the family and a good supporter of Britain's Hidden History. He's a very dear friend, and unfortunately, sad passing of him yesterday, and that's to Kevin Thomas. So our heart goes out to his beautiful wife Shireen, his lovely family and the boys, who are friends of my son's, and it's absolutely awful. So, and only just over a year ago, we were together watching the rugby down in Cardiff. He took me out, very generous person always, bought the tickets, got the beers, took me down. And we had a great day out, so it's absolutely awful. He's been ill for quite a long time. It was kind of on the cards, but obviously you always hope kind of rally round and get better. So unfortunately that hasn't happened. So I don't know, it's been quite crushing news really, and that just came through yesterday. A lot of things going on recently. My mother the week before passing away, my father just before that. It's been rather traumatic and difficult really. So this week's a little bit all over the place. So please bear with me. Yeah, not much more I can say about that. Just all my love goes out to them in just impossibly difficult time. So I'm very sorry about that. And thank you for their good wishes from people there. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is run through, not dwell on that for too long. We're going to go through the things that are going on at the moment, because it's been such a busy few weeks. I thought the first thing to do, rather than an hour-long talk on something, which would be great if I'd organised it in time. And I think people interested to know what's been going on during the last couple of weeks, because it really has been really busy with lots of great stuff. Just double-checking, can you hear me okay there? Oh, yes, you can.
Yep.
Good. Right, okay, one is, first of all, I know it's been delayed. As you know, I have had a bad couple of months. And that's the reprinting of Trojan Wars 650 BC. It is now going to off for proof printing tomorrow, day after, which is great news. And I think I was going to put something on the screen just to show you. Trojan War. Here we go. Let's do a quick screen share. Hopefully you can see that. How are we doing this week on the technology? Oh, not too bad. It's a bit clumsy. It'll do. Right, okay, so there we go. Because it's tricky, because the old print files are all messed up. The images weren't very good in the last book. As you might know already, they're quite poor quality, some of them. So I had to resource new images to put in there, which has been fun. And, here's something we're going to be talking a bit about today, which is one of the things that cropped up while I was editing the book. Now, I say editing in the lightest possible use of the word, okay? None of the text has been removed, changed, or added to. Just make that quite clear. What has been noticeable in the book, though, for various reasons, I will go a little bit into now. There were some rather major duplications in the book. We all expect a little bit of that with the style of writing of Wilson and Blackett. But in this occasion, I think it's chapter 8 is all this amazing stuff about working out the whole chronology of ancient Egypt and the pharaohs.
No volume.
The volume's gone.
Yep.
Is it back on now? Hang on.
No, it's not on.
Sorry, thank you, Arnie. Arnie's stopped me there. Oh, come on. What's going on? Sorry, we've lost volume. How can we lose volume? What's one moment? volume just stop? You definitely can't hear it, no?
Yep,
You sure it's not your microphone? Can anyone else not hear me?
Oh, they can hear you.
Volume is good. Okay, thank you.
I can't hear you.
It's just Arnie. It's Arnie's headset. Can someone else just give me a thumbs up on the volume, please? Because Arnie can't hear me. No, Ross, we can hear you. Volume is good. Same here. Do not worry. Okay. I can hear you. All right. So it's the only one who can't hear me is Arnie sitting right next to me. All right. Must be his headset. Thank you, folks. Good job we got feedback, isn't it? Oh, yeah, that's right. Talking about the chapters of the book. I think it's chapter 8 or chapter 12. I should know it inside out by now. It says this wonderful chronology of Egypt and all the pharaohs and the family trees and who everyone is. It's remarkable. I mean, it really is remarkable. And then in, I think it's chapter 15, we talk about the Hittite kings, or Wilson and Blackett do, the Hittite kings and the Chaldean kings, and showing how the Hittites and the Chaldeans, it is working, it's just the headphones, are actually duplicates, and how they all match up, and it's brilliant. And then for some reason, the printers or something, the whole of the chapter about the Egyptian pharaohs got repeated again. So I've removed that, okay? So if you want the authentic original experience, just read, I think it's chapter 12 twice. The other thing which has been slightly changed is that they sent 2 endings to the printers, 2 final chapters. Because the first one had gone off, and they looked at it and thought, oh, hang on a second. They just wanted to add a couple of paragraphs to the beginning and to the end, just to make it read a bit better. And unfortunately, if anyone's read Trojan Wars 650 BC, they might have noticed that both got printed. So chapter 16 and chapter 17 are actually the same, apart from those 2 extra paragraphs. So I just shuffled the paragraphs across and only ran that chapter once instead of twice. Okay, so I think the overall effect, there's a couple more images and stuff. It's about 35 pages less. But the other thing we now have, which I am hopefully going to show little bits, a glimpse of, is an index. Okay, so I've been working really hard on this. Here's to give you an idea. You can scan it if you're really quick, because the page numbers are all the same for the first 12 chapters. Like I said, the back end of the book will change because of those changes. And I also shuffled some of the images around to put them next to the text. So when it talks about Sutton Hoo, there's the Sutton Hoo pictures, that kind of thing. Alright, so stacks and stacks. There's over 500 references. They are Sutton Hoo. Those page numbers have to be slightly changed now. Well, it's just everything. It's over, as you can see, there's loads of it. So that's gone really well. I think there's actually more than that. There's 6 pages altogether of indexes. Okay, so that's all coming along nicely, and it's finally ready. It's gonna go. That's good news. Right, now I've got a couple of thank yous here as well. Now back to me, if I can do this. The first one is a lot of videos to go up. Excuse me, I'm a bit thirsty and dry because today went for a fantastic walk with Stephen Willett. Thank you very much indeed. He's a fantastic guide. And if you remember the Crumbling Walls of Garndyfife, he's on there. He's hilarious. One of the funniest, nicest people you will ever meet. And it's just been an absolute joy. Except he's quite a lot fitter than we are, because we took the whole family up there. We did, 5-6 miles of tough going. Shouldn't have been that bad, but, it was pretty steep in places. And my legs are aching. And I'm all like, I didn't sleep much last night, and I'm a bit tired now, so I'll do my best, alright? So thank you very much, Stephen. We did shoot some video, because one of the places we went to was really important, is Tyna Bleviad. Now, how many people can remember where that crops up in the Wilson Blackett stories? Let's have a look at the comments. Let's give it... what's gone missing?
The Middle Earth map.
Oh, right, okay, we'll come back to the Middle Earth map in a second. I've got some Middle Earth stuff to show today, okay? So, sorry about that video. We had to take it down. There's a few problems with the video. There were a few things we do have to correct and change. And we'll put something back up again very, very soon. And it's very, very exciting. So thank you for that. And by the way, I'm going to shout, you're the one with the headset, okay? So that's... Poor old Arnie. Do you want to wave to the cameras, Arnie? Going to show yourself?
Hello.
Hello. Could he just supposed to squeeze on there? Yeah, there he is. He's not really that small, by the way. That's just the angle of him leaning over. He's not tiny. So, yeah. Toyn y Blediad. Anyone remember? Looking for some comments? The Ferocious Warrior. Well done, Robert Pierce. Bang on. How do you spell that, Ross? I don't spell it, Patricia. I don't. I think it's B... Oh, I haven't got my written thing out. My second camera set up. Bledd. IAED, Blediad, is something like that. Don't worry about it. We'll be a video in the next few days if I get edited quickly. Anyway, the Ferocious Warrior. The reason it's important is the folklore is that Wilson and Blackett tell a wonderful story. That's how it all got started. This whole thing, because he was chatting with Baron Blackett, and I mentioned the Ferocious Warrior. And Hercules, and that got the whole thing onto the Star Mounds and working out where they all were. And that was the first trigger to working out this whole idea of South Wales being a massive star map. So we have to see it. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a wrecked mound, that one. Toyn y Blediad. But next to it as well is Toyn Gwyn. And there's a few other places and some stones. It's a beautiful walk. It won't be a long video, but man, it was good fun. And I want people to see that. Similarly, and there might little ticks. I've got a list. Aren't I organised? I've got a pen, look. There we are. Now, we also got a big thank you to Mike Sutton, I think, surname. Sorry, Mike. It's Mike, I know definitely. And his friend Norman, who he introduced me to. Norman, 80 years old, okay? And this was about the 24th of June, I think it was. It was so blazing hot. And Mike says, hang on, let's go back to me. Mike said, let's go, we're going to go up to Mynydd y Gaer. And this is exciting. This video will be out again, hopefully this week. There's so much work building up. It's hard to know. Do my best, okay? Because it's a trip up to Mynydd y Gaer, where Alan Wilson has the Wilson and Blackett own the church. And it's the Caer Caradocs up there and a burial place. Really fascinating place, okay? And then I'll tell you the full story, actually, because it's quite amusing. A few weeks ago, they ordered some books from us, some of the Alan Wilson and Blackett books. We only lives about 2.5, 3 miles away, and it was the day we were going up the Garth anyway. So we said, all right, we'll drop the books off. And of course, it was a bit of a surprise to him because he looked out the door and it was me walking down the drive holding the books in an envelope. And he goes, it's like, oh my God, there's him, because he was actually watching one of these Britain Hidden History videos while I was walking down the drive. It was like the first time I felt like a celebrity, It was like, it's a real excitement. Got talking to him, and he says, oh yeah, he said, your video really helped because I was trying to work out where the castle was at Mynydd y Gaer. I'm like, what do you mean castle? What castle? He said, that we got the two gate posts and all this kind of thing. And I'm like, no idea. And I said, yeah, Alan Wilson mentions it on his video, and you mentioned something and all this kind of stuff. So, and he told me he'd been going up there all his life. Since he was a small child, his dad used to take him up there for nefarious activities such as shooting poor defenceless wild animals and things. I don't know. Anyway, that was their regular walk, okay? Going up there for decades. What a lovely guy. I mean, we got on like a house on fire from minute one, not day one, minute one. And we agreed we'd go up together. And of course, he gives me a call and says someone else is joining us. His name's Norman, who is the top bloke. And I want to do a complete interview with him. Just him talking. He's got so many stories to tell because he's 80 years old. And he has been looking into this sort of Welsh history for decades. I mean, possibly even before Wilson and Blackett. He's followed their work from the very beginning. He was also an observer of a lot of the things that were going on, like the excavations back in the 80s. A really interesting bloke. Again, great and personal link. My uncle was captain of Pontypridd Rugby Club back in 66-7, and Norman was playing for the same team as my uncle. So how about that for a link? So he was, and I was worried. It's a blazing hot day. We're going to go up Mynydd y Gaer the long way, so it's a good few mile walk uphill. How is he going to cope, this old man, right? I'm going to kill him off in the hot weather. Not at all. Complete opposite. I mean, I could hardly keep up with him. And with the videos, as usual, on the early bits, you can hear me wheezing and panting. And all I'm doing is, tell us about this, Norm. And then he's just chatting away like nobody's business. He walks every day, and he's a perfect advert for why looking at these mounds and hill walking is the best thing you can do for your health, bar none. He's 80 years old. He walks every day. A couple of years ago, he walked to Scotland. Got a little tent, packed food, the whole lot. Absolutely amazing. Glowing with health. Sharp as a button. Really good discussions. Really good knowledge. And that video will be going up very soon. So thank you to both Mike and Norm for being such great company. And apologise not getting back sooner. Tried to get hold of a quick message. As you can tell, I've had a bad couple of weeks. Right, done the Trojan War. Good. Right, more big news. Thank you very much, everyone who's been involved in the collection we've been doing for Wilson and Blackett to get a new computer. It's really important. We've got to keep them productive. We just give them access. I'm trying to get them on the internet more often as well. I want to get them on this program. Whether I have to go up to Newcastle depends on the lockdown restrictions and when they're ready for it. Because Alan is 88, so you have to be... Well, you know what the situation at the moment is. The sooner the better. I can have them on the program, or at least a phone interview or something, right? We're going to do something, but we really want to get them online. I'm going to try and get them onto the Facebook group and just contributing, answering emails, that kind of stuff. Be good for them. Keep them engaged and know how much love there is out there for them, how much support, and be brilliant for us, won't it? Because you'll see more of them. So we put out a request a few weeks ago, and the response has been fantastic, absolutely fantastic. There's so many people to mention. I am going to put together a proper thank card with everyone's name on it, so it's absolutely brilliant. A couple of names in particular, because I know Richard Evans was contacted me about actually getting the computers and paying up front and working out all sorts of wonderful ways to help. That was fantastic. And we had large donations from people like Peter Smith all over in Canada. Lots of Paul Hartel. Loads of people have been... I feel it's not really fair just to name a few people, actually, because there's been so many. But I just want to say it has gone really well. And I was contacted a couple of weeks ago... by Mr. Gerard Derricks, just to make sure I got it right. Gerard, who's a wonderful guy. Turns out he went to LSE as well. Quite a few years after me, mine, but... and he's, anyway, side point. He could get hold of some computer kit for a much better price than we could normally. He also knows computers, so he's rigged it all up, put the software on that Wilson and Blackett are going to need. Everything's good to go. I'm going to drive. It's a bit of a long round trip, but that's okay, because we can get 2 computers for our money. Hooray! So they can have 1 each. So they haven't got to argue about whose go is it next. All right. So that's great. And hopefully we can do that in the next couple of days. And then I'll be delivering them ASAP, as soon as clearance is available. I don't know if they're nervous about visitors or the lockdown, maybe I'll have to send them up there. I'd rather go and just say, look. But they're going to be designed so that you just have to open the box, turn them on, and they're in. That's how we're setting them up. That's the plan, all right? Because they're the smartest guys I know, but they are 80, getting on a bit and not used to IT so much. Maybe they'll surprise me. Also want to get a printer as well, okay? So thank you for that. I think we just spoke enough for a printer as well. A couple more contributions would help get us over the edge. And also, people have been asking for ages now about, can we have Patreon so people can make regular contributions? Just put a couple of quid in every month. Really helps everything go along. It's much appreciated. And it's not too much to ask, hopefully. So that's all there, the Patreon account. Hey, another thing, speaking of which, not really speaking of which, on a related matter, if we could get the subscriptions up on this YouTube channel to 1,000 or more, that would help enormously, because then suddenly all sorts of facilities on YouTube become available. Things come up on search engines. You can have little tip boxes and different things. So we've got almost a 700. There's about 668 this morning, I think, number of subscribers. If everybody could just try and get one other person in, or 2, once you get over 1,000, then you can do all the other things that YouTube offers. We're miles over the viewing hours. They're looking for like 10,000 a year, and we do that every few months. So if you could help on that, that would be great. Oh yeah, there's another slightly different thing. Next year, something to look forward to. Very early days in the planning. Hopefully the world will be back to the new abnormal, whatever's going to happen. But of course, my parents' house is now vacant. And rather than sell it, our plan is because it's actually overlooking some of the mounds, the star mounds and stuff. So we could try and make that available, maybe on an Airbnb basis or something, so people can stay, and we'll do some tours. So there's people around the world always asking me, they want to come down to South Wales, they want to have a look around the sites, whether it's the King Arthur tour, or it's the Star Mounds, or the birth of Christianity, or whatever. There's loads of hill forts, there's so much around here to see, and that will be a place that will become available. And I've got my 9-seater car, we'll be off. Right, starting to sound a bit like an advert, this. Wasn't meant to. Right. Now, another person I want to mention specifically in dispatches is Hugh Evans. We've got 2 Hugh Evans, by the way. One Hugh Evans is the one on the video you've seen I posted the other day, which was the visit up to Mynydd Gaer. Nope, try again. Mynydd Baden. The battle site, Battle of Baden, okay? A massive long walk. You see him, his face on the video pointing with a rucksack on. He's the army boy. Tough. He sees the first 7 miles as a warm-up. I want to get hold of him. He's disappeared off our WhatsApp walking group, and he's the expert on Baden, and really top, nice bloke I'd like to see again. So if you watch this, please get in touch, Hugh. We'll be trying to get hold of you now. Something's gone wrong. The other Hugh Evans, that's not very nice. Someone else who's also called Hugh Evans. No one wants to be called the other, do they? He has been doing some great work. He has been working on translating the Book of the Dead. Because he's got his copy of Cymroglyphics. That sounds like an advert again, I'll cancel that. But anyway, he's going through it and ringing me up sending me emails. We get stuck on a few things, but it's not very many. And as he says himself, every day or so he's getting better at it and quicker at it. And it does, just a bit of practice. Anyone can do it. The only thing that happens now and again is you get a few symbols we maybe haven't seen before, and we've got to go back and work it out using the dictionary and work out what the intended word is, all that kind of stuff. And I will be doing more on Cymroglyphics again. But that's great news, very exciting, because it does look quite a bit different to the original one. I'm not even sure if the title is The Book of the Dead. I mean, it's just a guess, the whole thing. It's quite frightening if you get into it. Right, anyway, all those public service announcements there. Let's get on to a bit of content, I hear people say. Actually, what we're doing this. Yeah, do some tours, thank you. Zach Boy Stevenson likes to do the tours. What about some t-shirts, Tudor? Good idea. What should we have on the t-shirts? Huh? Picture of Wilson and Blackett? Picture of a mound? I don't know. What should we have? Oh, the hat.
Yeah.
Get the hat on.
Britainshiddenhistory hats.
Oh, the hats. Yes, hats. I don't know. The more we can raise, the easier it is to keep all this going, because it's becoming a full-time job and there's basically no income. It costs me money to do. And the savings don't go on forever. So please, some help would be appreciated, because, my savings are going to run out. I need some income at some point. We need some money to keep this going. Keep Arnie and hot dogs. Right. What's I going to show you now? Right. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see if I can do some more tech. I'm trying to talk here and look really cool and I'm actually lining something up. Right. Okay. Let's see if this is working. Funky screen share. Excellent. Good work, Arnie. Right, my little title here, Dragons and Mazes. Bit more than that. Because, like I said, this is a bit different. We're going to have a couple of short topics, okay? And hopefully a bit of chat. I'm looking forward to the comments, and Arnie's looking at them. Yes, t-shirts. Everyone's saying t-shirts. Great, okay. Oh, there's people offering money as well. Chris, thank you, yeah. Oh, yeah, can you do a future video and episode on the Canaanites? Ooh. I'll have to do some research first. I don't know much about the Canaanites, I'm sorry. I know about the sort of 12 tribes genetically coming to Wales. Yeah, before I go any further, I do need to apologise. I've written a big note to myself here, the big circle around it. Someone made an excellent suggestion last week for a topic for this week. I said I'd do it, and then I lost the notes. And do you notice some reason if anyone watched back the YouTube video, the comments didn't come up? So I couldn't find it there either. That reminds me, I need to make sure they do come up this week. I hope they do, alright? So if you could suggest again what that was, and I do apologise, we'll do it next week. Open for suggestions. Well, that's you on, is it? Right, okay. The only thing I would say about Cain and Abel is maybe the Yeah, well, you drift into that, do we? Right, okay. If you look at the star signs, it's one of the things people say. Just a slight detour. That if the Old Testament is largely astronomical, that doesn't mean to say the events didn't take place. It doesn't mean the events weren't real. A bit like King Arthur was real and is astronomical or astrological versions of the story. And if you look at the star signs, so Jesus is considered the age of Pisces with the fish. Before that, you got Aries, the lamb. Before that, you got the bull, Taurus, which we can get the Mithridates cult and all that kind of thing. And remember with Moses, they come down and they're worshipping the bull and the cow, the calf. And then before that, you got Gemini, which is the twins. And the idea of Cain killing Abel might have an astronomical connection, but I don't think you meant that. No, the Welsh tourist industry should pay you for encouraging interest in real history. Yes, well, I hope the Welsh Tourist Board do have some interest, and Cadw. It seems remarkably quiet. But in fairness, Wilson and Blackett have been doing this for decades, and they had the opposite to that. So please, if anyone can afford this video, watch them. We're very welcome. It's free. It's here. We've already built. No need to build a theme park or anything. All the building work's been done hundreds or even thousands of years ago. So let's tell people about it and get visiting to Wales. Another thing I'll just say on that tourism, slight detour again. I will actually get to the start of this story. Reminds me of Basil Brush. Do you remember that? No, too old. My wife's family are in Taiwan, okay? And over there at the moment, it is blistering hot, as you can imagine. It's even hotter than usual. So I don't know what it is, 40-odd degrees, humid. People are melting. It's so hard to do anything. There's no lockdown or anything, by the way. They're wandering around and shopping and eating and living normal life. But it is really hot. Now, what I've noticed, I lived in the Middle East for 5 years, where it's also really hot, okay? And people coming from hot countries like that like something different for their holiday. So if you come from Wales, you might be looking for a brochure with a lovely sunny beach and blazing hot and guaranteed sunshine. People coming from hot countries like that don't necessarily want it. Angie's mum would desperately love to be over here, where the temperature is mild and it's actually a bit drizzly, a bit of rain. She'd love a bit of rain. That wouldn't bother her. Sorry, it should be on me, shouldn't it? And it amazes me, the number of times I've been in the Middle East when it's blazing hot and you're thinking about Wales and the lovely green, or Britain as a whole, not just Wales, okay? And there's all these Arab guys, and I would love to come over here and you tell me it's cool and it's cloudy and you get rain, and that encourages them. And yet every poster or advert I've ever seen for Wales is people standing on a beach or on a golf course just saying how lovely and sunny it is. So there we go. I don't know, it just seems like a little bit of lateral thinking somewhere, isn't it? You know, push our history, all these natural things we got, and even our weather you can mention. Right, let's see if I can make this work now. Oh, sorry, yeah. I've got itchy nose, I'm sorry about that. It's not a very nice sight. Watch me doing that, is it? Right, okay, so the first thing we'll look at is a little bit of interest. Thank you very much to Mr. Tim Lewis. And it was done in conjunction with Rob. And what Tim has done is very clever. Because anyone out there recognise what those red marks represent on the map of Wales? Let's have a look though. Just checking with... anyone else have a little guess at that? There's a couple of clues if you look closely. They are not the Welsh counties. They are not the current organisation of Wales. But if you go back far enough, you will find that this is what's called the old cantrevs, which is a sort of county system. This isn't the main subject, but there's a little addition here because this came through today. And I thought it's worth mentioning because it does tie in very much what we're doing. And it's the first time I've seen a map where what Tim has done is superimpose the old cantrevs on the modern place names. So if you look closely, go on, is the mouse going to work this week? Yay! So right in the middle there is Brecon, for example. Okay. What's other places people might know? Llanelli, Swansea. There's the M4, look. Winding its way through. And there's Cardiff, Newport, Aberdare, where all the best people come from. All these places are on the map, okay? You can see them. And then in red, you can see the cantrev names. I think I might just make this available if people are interested. It's great work by Tim. And what leaps out is, one of the things mentioned is how the places that are important now weren't necessarily the places that were important however many hundred years ago this map comes from, okay? And I want to focus particularly around Cardiff, our capital, and where that is. Bom, bom, bom. So I've just zoomed in a bit. So here's Merthyr Tydfil, or Merthyr, which I want to talk about specifically as well. And you see, this cantref is called Sengennydd, which, as we know from Wilson and Blackett stories, if you follow them, is the centre, the top of Sengennydd, the top of the blind, actually it's not that far up, about there somewhere I would guess, is the top of the Sengennydd Valley, and that's where you find the Polaris in the centre. And what's even more interesting, this is not Cardiff, it's actually split slightly, with most of Cardiff being under Sengennydd, which is like a tiny mining village now. But even more significantly, is each one of these cantrefs has a sort of, like a little capital, if you like, a sort of a centre town for that cantref. And if you look very closely down here, you got a place called Keyboard, which Alan Wilson references, because this is the area that it seems likely to be the very important part of King Arthur II's kingdom. Alright, this is where King Arthur's kingdom would have headquartered itself, or that. And if you look in the books, and maybe I should do something on this one, you can see the site. It's just nothing there. It's a farm. It's been, the old ramparts been ploughed through. It's shocking. Because if you go back through history, my mouse has gone, oh, here it is. Cardiff, the massive capital that we know today, was part of Keybor. Keybor was the main town, not Cardiff, which is a smaller port in those days. But it's interesting how places of significance changes over time. And I think it's worth looking more at that. So there you go, just a little sidetrack. I've really given a flavour for the amount of things that people send to me and some of the things that get shared on the Facebook group. There's so much going on. It's great to see a teamwork. And I want to please send in more videos as well. Oh, that's right, because people are asking about Kerry's video. He sent that in on about the Middle Earth. And we had to do a few things just to make it work a bit better and change it. We will be posting something again soon, okay? So a few technical things on that. But that was great, okay? If you got something you want to share or ask about, send in a video, it's the Britain's Hidden History Group video. I'm just filling in the slots at the moment because no one else is available, as it were. So you have to live with me, okay? What are we looking up there? Oh, it's got the wrong heading on the thing. Yeah, ignore that. Yeah, it says BHH 6 Live at the bottom. Ignore that. Okay, so here's another little side tack. And how long are we doing on to time? Oh, right, okay. Anyway, none of them are very long, okay? So please bear with me. This is an interesting area because this is where Rob, if you know Rob, Wales RB, he's done such a lot of work. He's also, mind you, the one who convinced me to spend summer solstice sleeping on a hill in a storm in a tent. So that's the same Rob, all right? Now, it was a great experience. We will go up there again. And he's also taken a lot more pictures since of the sunrises and where the sun falls and how you can see these holy mountains like Sugarloaf and those kind of places, how they all tie in with the sun and the movement. Very clever. But one thing he's also been looking into is this whole Tolkien link, okay? And because we got an idea here, because Tolkien used to come here on holidays to this area, and it would seem that he really liked this area so much, he soaked it up quite a bit. And this could be, through his imagination or whatever it is, a site for The Hobbit. Maybe not so much, I know what Lord of the Rings, how that fits in. Come on, mouse. But The Hobbit, and the idea is, if you look here, and here particularly, can you see it yet? It's one of those things, once you've seen it, it's easy. But if you've never seen it, it took me ages. And it was funny, because there's a group of us looking at it, and we all came up with slightly different answers. So what I want to try and do is in this area, and I'll give you some big clues, some help. This whole area here draws out a dragon. Alright? It draws out a dragon. Can you see it yet? I will show you a drawing, don't worry. You can pause the video if you want longer. Maybe a clue. This could be the flame or the tongue coming out the mouth. Alright, which will give you a head of a dragon. Can you see that? Or a snake or something. See the wings here, look. You could say this wing as well. There's a wing there. I think Rob sees it slightly differently, and a wing there. Alright, I'm going to go forward to show the drawings. So pause if you want to keep looking. And bingo. See, he's got the wings slightly different to me. So the wings here, look. Isn't that fantastic? This is the dragon. So this is Smaug sitting over the hill. So what we're wondering there, if this is Smaug, look, you see. And then under here, there's a cave system. So maybe that refers to the underground. Is it Edenor? What was it? The cave, the underground city in.
Moria.
No, in Hobbit. The Hobbit.
Oh, in the Hobbit. Erebor.
Erebor, thank you, Arnie. Yeah, that's it, Erebor. So just maybe under here we got Erebor. So it'd be nice to see which way the caves go and that kind of thing. It just struck me as quite interesting. There we are. And now, what's also interesting in this area is that this is where Tolkien did come on holidays, all right? So he was around this area. And the places like Bulch being right in the flame. And then all around here, where it gets very interesting, is this seems to be part of a rebirth ceremony area. The whole area, depending on the every winter, I think it's a winter solstice, which is why we might not see much anyway in the summer one. Because in a lot of religions, probably you could argue Christianity included, there's the idea of the death and the 3-day resurrection. Well, all of this, as you'll see in another Wilson and Blackett book, which I have to edit and get out as soon as I can, the origins of religions and why the pyramids are built. It's like another amazing lifelong study subject coming up. That'll be a couple of months away, okay? Anyway, it's not Alan Wilson saying this for the first time. Other things in the book are original. But anyway, one of the things you notice is this 3-day death and rebirth. And the idea is in their winter solstice, the sun is at its lowest point, but it sort of levels out for 3 days, and then it starts coming back up again, okay? So that's the death thing. So this is why they say that Christmas was moved from whatever date. The birth of Jesus was probably in the spring, as we discussed, possibly March the 1st, and that's why the patron saint of Wales is on March the 1st. Dewi, one with God. Anyway, was moved to the middle of December to fit the Sol Invictus, the sun cult, with that being the 3 days and then the resurrection of the sun being at its lowest point. And this goes all the way back. If you go through to, what's his name? The great, not Darius. Yeah, Darius. Darius the Great. Is it Darius? Yeah, he's supposed to have died and risen again. Various times in history you'll see it. So there we go. That's so this would seem, I think, possibly to tie in with the winter solstice. That's what we're discussing, not just me. I mean, Rob's doing all the work. And it all ties up. You come to Langorse Lake, all these different areas, and you can follow. So what we're going to try and do is follow a 3-day cycle of where the sun fits into this on the day it goes down, disappears, and then comes back up again. So it's not necessarily the solstice day, I would suggest. It's that 3-day period. So I think that's one to look out for, okay? My goodness, it's going to be fun being up there in a tent for 3 days in the middle of December. I'm not as tough as Rob. Mind you's, what's happening there? It's all going a bit weird. No, it's okay. I hope there are no orcs there. Thank you. Land of the Hobbit and King Arthur. Oh, I like it, Tudor. Look at that. Look up, down the rabbit hole. Wow. The pineal gland. My goodness, there's so many comments this week. I can't keep up with them. I will try and do what I did before and scroll back through and have a look, okay? Anyway, so there's one little thing there. So that's the dragons. So the full title of this episode, the wrong title's at the bottom. It's just, I mean, as you see, mostly it's a newsy one. It's a bit different this week. But we've got King Arthur, the dragons, and the mazes, all right? And the mazes are quite cool. Have you ever seen, if you've read, it's something I came across in Trojan War and in, once again, I've got my cover on the book. This looks the same anyway. Should do something like that, how to cover books to make them, keep them longer. Anyway, no one's interested in that. Here we go, Prehistoric London. I lost my page doing this. Trying to get that on the camera. Prehistoric London. Don't lose the page. My thumb is just hanging on. No, luckily, I'm a professional. I wrote down what page number it was, didn't I? Yeah, right. 116. If anyone's got a copy, 116. I'm just going to read a little bit from here because I want to talk about these mazes, which are really, really cool. Okay? And the reason I want to mention them is because they provide a link between Britain and Troy. And I need to do a quick jump here, don't I? Because I found, which is quite amusing me, this did. Because I had a quick look on, I had it all queued up. Where are you? Oh, yeah, here we are. It's in Welsh. Right, so the quick look on Wikipedia. Which is always an amusing starting point. Please, though, it's what can you say without getting thrown off? It's not reliable, let's put it that way. And very mainstream. I love to know how it gets sorted out. Anyway, it's Caer Droea, Welsh here, really. Basically means Troy Town. Okay? Now, the way it goes is that maze I just showed you. We'll go back to it in a minute. What it does, it reflects the mazes that they used to have. You can see in Italy. And that one I just showed you there, some Lucca in Italy. And goes all the way back to ancient Troy. And the Welsh farmers don't seem to know why they do it. They have these hill farmers who just cut the grass in a certain way. It's like a tradition that's gone on for hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years. A couple of thousand years anyway. Where they call it Troy Wall. It's like a maze. And you can see examples of this all over Britain. And so what to do is going through, you can see as an example, if you E.O. Gordon, this book was written in 1914, highly recommended. Everybody should get a copy of this. I think it's fantastic. Which talks all about it. Oops, sorry, I almost clipped something. Anyway, let's see what Wikipedia says first. So a Caer Droea is a Welsh turf maze. It's actually in Welsh, in English you call it a Troy Town. So you seem to have avoided mentioning that, which is weird. They haven't translated it, as you normally would. Anyway, sevenfold Cretan labyrinth or Cretan labyrinth design. They're created by shepherds on hilltops. And apparently the setting for ritual dances, and they talk about tum paths and whatever. See, Caer Droea. Droea is Troy. So here we go. Welsh word meaning labyrinth, a maze. Maze cut by shepherds. Well, that's kind of a secondary meaning. The original meaning is walls of Troy. Okay. And there's some variations. Because of the similarity between the Welsh Troia and the second element, Troy, the name was later popularly interpreted as meaning fortress of turns. So many mazes in England were named Troy Towns, or walls of Troy. So there we go. And now this is in popular legend, the walls of the city of Troy were constructed in such a confusing and complex way that any enemy who entered them would be unable to find his way out. And there's obviously then parallels going back to the ancient Cretan story of the Minotaur and Croesus. I always want to say his name is the Welsh, because this looks like it's a Welsh spelt name, but let's not go down that. This is interesting, I didn't know about. North Wales, there's this Goedir Forest, which is the largest labyrinth in the world, it says. And you can wander around the trees being hopelessly lost for hours. Sounds great. Enjoy that. I know my Arnie's a big fan of mazes. No, doesn't like mazes. Pointless. If you want to get somewhere, go there. Why do this to get there? I tend to agree, I have to say. Anyway, this is great, right? Mythical link. This is what we're up against. There's another tenuous connection between Wales and Troy that has been disproven by historians. Disproven, I tell you. How can you disprove something goes back all its hundreds of years? I mean, how can you... It's bizarre, but remains a resilient myth. Geoffrey of Monmouth, following the early Welsh historian Nennius, created a Christian classical genealogy, which placed Brutus of Troy, guardian of Aeneas and liberator of enslaved Trojans, as founder of Britain. This Brutus is generally considered a medieval fiction. I'll show you about those statues of him in Rome and all that kind of thing, isn't it? But it's great. So you've got this is what the situation we're up against, right? You've got two British historians, Geoffrey of Monmouth, who I'd rather he was called Griffith ap Arthur, which is his proper name. He's a cousin of Arthur II. Griffith ap Arthur and Nennius. They record this history and the Trojan thing. Now, where it gets curious, okay? whenever you think about those particular historians, this was the accepted history in Britain. The other thing we talked about this week was, I'm not jumping away, don't worry, is Cambrian Triumphants. This is a fantastic book. And as I mentioned before, you can get it through Gyan Books. I should mention that's Gyan, Gyan Books. It's a print-on-demand company in India. Nothing to do with me. I'm not sponsored or anything to do with them. It's just a great resource. If it's a rare book you can't get a hard printed copy. Because you can see the video I put up earlier in the week. This is a disappearing book. Major historical book written or published in 1661. And it doesn't seem to be available, well, hardly anywhere. The Welsh Museum or the Welsh Library doesn't have any copies. What's that about? Anyway, you can get a printed copy. And in there it talks about Troy, all the history before the Hanoverians came in and the Saxon narrative was introduced. This was generally accepted history. Now, where it gets particularly fascinating, I think, is that the whole idea of Troy, and Wilson of Blackett mentioned this as well, it's not just me, but the whole concept of Troy was considered to be a figment of the imagination of Homer, or Melesigenes, his proper name, right? Homer probably means the blind one or something. It was a myth. There was no Troy. Then, of course, Schliemann came along, 1870s, and discovers Troy, and people generally accept that is Troy. And there's at least one Trojan War, because there's a few different layers of burnt-out cities and things. And so, if it's a myth, how did they know there was a Troy there when apparently no one knew until Schliemann dug it up? How did they know to invent something which turned out to be so accurate to what wasn't excavated for another... What were they saying? They're trying to make out now that Griffith ap Arthur is medieval, 12th century or 13th century. Alright, so, what's that? 600 years before Schliemann discovered Troy, he was talking about it. That's a pretty impressive piece of imagination and a great guess, isn't it? And the same, of course, with Ur, with Woolley digging it up as well. Anyway, there's a little bit from here. So another memory of the colonial, quoting now from the book, colonial colonization is perpetuated in the numerous Troy towns or mazes cut in the turf in all parts of England and in those which still exist in the uplands of Wales, called by shepherds Caerdroea. Slightly different spelling I noticed to what they have on the modern wiki. And that's what I should do as well. Save you just looking at that boring entry there. Let's go back to this. Okay. And I'll show you. There's the one from Lucca, Italy. And this, put alongside it, is a Welsh Shepherd's Troy town. So you can see they're remarkably similar. And if you try and do them. I'm still not quite sure if the lines are the ones you follow or the white gaps are the ones you follow. I guess it's the white bits. Anyway, have a little look at that. They're not difficult, by the way, if you try and solve these mazes. I don't think. They're very tedious. Right, anyway, another memory. They came originally into the island from Caerdroea, Troy. This tradition has impressed itself so indelibly on the Celtic mind, I don't like that word Celtic, but this is 100 years ago, that we have even seen, this is a mainstream writer, E.O. Gordon, okay? He's like Oxford or Cambridge. Sorry, I beg your pardon. We see even shepherds on the summit of every hillock making pictorial representations in the surface of the grass of the labyrinthine walls of ancient Troy. On the plains on both sides of the Solway, mazes are also to be met with, and as in Wales, herdsmen still cut labyrinthine figures upon the turf, which they call for no reason, except that their fathers use the same expression, the walls of Troy. So where's this come from, eh? Whether the name Troy Town was used generically of all turf-cut mazes, it is impossible to say, but it is certain that many of them in different parts of the country were so designated, and both in name and in form take us back to classical antiquity. Even around, and this is interesting, the London, the name survives. For example, at Peckham Rye, an old row of cottages built on the site which formed part of the common is called Troy Town. The upper garden at Kensington was known as the Siege of Troy. It's on this site William III laid out a topiary maze, and about the same time he restored Henry VIII's popular maze at Hampton Court, which I've had the fun of wandering around a few times, which that monarch may have probably founded upon a yet earlier maze of unknown antiquity. So what's curious, you see, these links with Italy, Britain, and Troy, and Crete, I don't think, unless someone can correct me, are replicated across Europe. It seems to be only on the migration route. So, and there's a little bit more of this before we finish. At Blackheath, another maze may be identified in the midst of the prehistoric remains, where not far from the entrance to Morden College, successive ridges and depressions, faintly discernible, represents the remains of the old labyrinthine pathway. An old survey of the manor of Greenwich shows that the familiar thoroughfare of Maze Hill led direct to the maze. That this commanding tableland was an important centre of civilization in remote antiquity is certain, from the partial remains from the prehistoric Godsev, the great seat, today known as Whitfield's Mount. He goes on about other things, and I just wanted to jump forward because one little bit I wanted to mention the names of Maze Pond, Maze Street, and Maze Lane near the site of the old ferry on Bankside, Southwark, preserve the memory of yet another of these places of amusement, as some suppose them to have been, and suggest the presence of a large population composed probably of traders and merchants, and on it goes. So this idea of the mazes goes all the way through that, and again, it's described in greater detail. I'm going to plug the book. It seems to be going for reprint. And there's still time to pre-order. You've got 1 more week to pre-order and get the discount and get the first off the presses. So Alan Wilson also talks about this and the Welsh farmers and all that kind of thing, and it really is interesting, and I think I'd recommend people look at that. Here's some more examples from all over the place. I think just give you an idea, they are slightly different, but the general idea is to weave back and forth. Some people have postulated the idea. The mazes were laid out to represent the walls of Troy. Thank you. Troy Town, just outside Dorchester. Thank you, Stephen Pole. Good to see you on board. I wonder if they have a Troy in there with like structure. Thank you, Zach Boy. Yeah, some good comments. Yeah, and I'm trying my best to make sure the comments come up. And anyone watching this on replay or now, please read the comments as well, because there's so many good stuff there. Like Robert Pierce is mentioning Llewellyn ap Griffith spoke of Brutus in the 1270s. You know, when exactly did these stories get invented? Because they run all the way through. You could even read keep meaning to watch it. The Shakespeare's play, Tressida and Troika, I think it is, where you got all that set in Troy, and it was British history. It just all changed. It's so maddening. People are trying to make out that this is some kind of alternative history. No, this is authentic history, as taught in school for hundreds of years, and as physical evidence abounding all around the country in names, in mazes, in mounds, in all kinds of stuff. And yet it's treated as some sort of myth. What other country in the world has had its whole history dismissed as a myth? I don't know. It's not just Wales. It's England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. Less Ireland, perhaps. Well, actually, all of them. So here's another example of a maze, which if anyone can find me an up-to-date picture of this, I'd be very grateful, because I can't find one. Because in the original Trojan Wars book, it's labelled as Benwell Maze in Newcastle. So I can't find a trace of that anymore, so maybe it's gone. It is no more, perhaps. But I like to put new images, because as you can see, it's okay. But for printing a book, it's nice to have nice, new, sharp images of the same thing, by the way. Updated, not changed. Okay, so that's more or less it. Oh yeah, one other thing I do want to say about it. Another interesting story about the reason you have the maze is, if you go back even further, I'm pretty sure it's in this Alan Wilson book, Wilson and Blackett book. If you go back even further, it might not be a reference to the walls of Troy being so complicated you can't get back out again. One of the things they talk about there is the idea of putting these mazes outside the funeral places of people. The people have like quite an elaborate tomb, or mausoleum even, where the bodies would be laid, and a maze would be put outside the door around the mausoleum. And then it's kind of like, which way do you want to think about it? Is it to stop spirits escaping from the mausoleum, the dead spirits of the dead escaping, or is it to stop evil spirits getting in to attack the dead bodies? So sorry, we've sort of ended on death and beyond on death. That's really a bit downer, really. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, it's just a curious thing, okay? So you've got any theories on the labyrinths? What have we got here? I got John Windsor. Yes, you're quite right. London is Travantium. City of London is Londinium. The inhabitants were called Trinovantes, famous for working with iron. And this is all what he's talking about there is they're referring back to ancient Troy and the connections with London. And next week, that is perfectly timed, Mr. Windsor. Thank you very much. I remember Mr. Windsor because you got in touch, I think, or your wife or someone in your family got in touch when I did a video quite some time ago talking about Windsor, the royal family's name, where it comes from. Spelt differently to Mr. Windsor here, and where Windsor comes from. If I look at that video, it's still up. It's quite funny, really, because you've got the Windsor is the mound which predates the Normans by a long way. And when they built the castle on there, replacing the existing castle, by the way, it became the tower, and it was the sacred. It's like a mound, but one possible translation, of course, is a sacred mound for Windsor, or it could just be mound of earth, which I thought was quite funny because the royal family, when they're trying to distance themselves from being called Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, were looking for a more English name, and they chose Windsor for being so quintessentially English, and the name of the castle was actually its roots possibly a Welsh name. So I find it quite amusing. Anyway, next week, please, if someone can remember what I did promise I'd do this week, and remind me, I will do that. I'm so sorry. It was a really good idea. I've asked 2 or 3 people now, what should I do this week? Say, yeah. The idea the book someone put in the comments last week. I said, yeah, what was it? And I was like, I can't remember. So I can only apologise. But next week, let's do London. I lived in London for quite a long time, 20 years. And I loved London. I was a proper Londoner, okay? I was become an adopted Londoner. I really missed the place. And it's changed a bit recently. Maybe it's me getting old. They say you're too old for London, you're too old for life. I don't know about that. But when I went back, see some friends, bit of a reunion about November time. Maybe around about then, I think. Or maybe earlier. No, end of last summer. Gosh, where's the time gone? Almost a year ago. It did seem very different. A little bit of the grimy, seedy side of it had gone a bit. I quite like that. The old cafes and... anyway, I lived all around central London for many years. Anyway, so next week at London, I'm very much picking up on the comments made there. So North Star. Is that a North Star I'm going or a North Star I'm staying? Yeah, Troy Ounce. Yeah, good point there by Mark. I've only got Mark as a name. If Troy wasn't real, how come it's used as a measurement of silver and gold? Good question. How do you answer that, eh? I live in Greenwich, next to Maze Hill. Oh, there we go. Thank you very much, David Ryan. So it's great to see his comments. So there's still a Maze Hill there now. I'm so glad to hear that, because one of the things I was going to do, obviously drawing heavily on this prehistoric London, I was going to draw on my London friends. If you could get in touch and send me an email or something to Ross at... What's the best address? Cymroglyphics. Let's go with that one. Can you spell Cymroglyphics? Cymro. Cymro, bit like Cymru, Welsh. Or Cymroglyphics. Glyphics.com. Please send an email. Anyone from London or knowledge on London, that'd be great. So I'm not just going to rehash whatever's in this book. That's the easy way. And this book was first published in 1914. So I'm a bit worried that a lot of it might be out of date. For example, that row of cottages you mentioned, I'm sure they've long gone. So stuff like that telling me that there's still a Maze Hill in Greenwich. And I must have an A to Z knocking around somewhere. If anyone's got one to hand, look up the word maze and see how many places. It's a total will do, or a list would be even better if someone could send me that. That would be great. It's not just about mazes. The whole Troy connections. So people can have a look in there and see if they see any mention the word Troy in street names. Now we'll go through all the different reasons, and again we're going back to Brutus and arrivals and setting up a Troy, or Neutraventus, or whatever. It's all variations, whether it's Latinized or English or Welsh. New Troy, alright? Troy Novantis is just kind of a Latin. Why should everything be in Latin, eh? Everything's blinking Roman, isn't it? So there we go. Right, okay, so we go through that. And yeah, going to go back up to Sugarloaf. I think we've done quite well there. It's about an hour in. Wow. It's all a bit rushed this week.
Exactly an hour.
An hour. Hey, what a pro, huh? Anyone would think a practice this. Oh dear. There we go. Right, so we got any more comments there for any more random type questions? I think people are getting ready to go to bed, are they? So we can make what have we got? Should we go scroll back? Oh, can you scroll back up a bit, Arnie? Because I can't actually see any comments on my screen. Difficult for me. I'm going to try and not mess everything. Okay, I'll scroll down. Yeah. Okay. Arnie seems to forget that he's got the headphones on. And I haven't. Come on, hands up. Do I think I'm being cruel to tease him, or is that okay? Is that okay? So I can't see the comments. I want the comments to punch me instead. There you go. Right, I'll try and make sure the comments go on there. So thank you very much. I think we'll wrap it up there. And got any suggestions for next week? I will leave the comments running so people can have a chance to carry on the chats and comments that are passing back and forth. And if you just want to relax, chill, and listen to a bit of Baron Blackett twanging his Gibson guitar, which he's extremely proud of, that would be wonderful as well. And if there's no more questions on that, thank you, Patricia, as well. And I gotta be like the super slick DJ now. Hang on, I want to be like one of those. I used to do DJ. I tell you, I wasn't very good. Just play Elvis Presley all night, and everyone complained in the end. What? No, not doing Elvis tonight. No Elvis. No Elvises. Okay, right, and I shall drift into music. If I can find the volume control. Hang on. That's why I was supposed to talk over it now, isn't it? And yeah, well, thank you very much for joining us this week on another action-packed edition of Britain's Hidden History live. Next week's show is going to feature London and other suggestions from the audience. And please put those comments in the box. Smash the... Oh, Arnie's dancing now. Smash the notification bell. Tell your friends. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. Just so we can access the features on YouTube that will make this experience a lot better. We've got lots of funky things on and stuff. And it used to be everyone could do it, but then they made it. You got to be big, and it takes ages to get to 1,000. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that, everybody. Love you all, and until the next time, hello. Can't you realize I see through your disguise every move you make? I was standing here while observing you. Won't you feel okay? Washed up and feeling moody. The onus is on you. Whoa, the feeling's just electrifying, making your own way bust. Why can't you understand me? Just look and you see, tell her my soul tonight. Don't say I'm not your kind. If you think I'll look okay, see me the next day. Can't you realize I see through your disguise every move you make? I'll be standing here while observing you. Won't you feel okay? Like vomit there, avoided like a plague. In the devil's eyes, would he give me bad advice? Every move he fades. I'll go down and let him punch you loose
spaceport. I'm going on this central line. There are gas fires burning like hell. Hey, mister, what am I gonna do? There are gas fires burning like hell. Hey, mister, what am I gonna do? I can hear them coming. Street dogs wait for you. What am I gonna do? There's a guy and a girl driving down the highway. You can tell. Even in the misty rain. Well, we'll probably scream up and call it the city hall. Yeah, the state can't beat me. I am going down. They told me they never gave a second I'd even break. Undergo frustration.
Undergoing frustration on the fast line today, and I ain't giving up. I need a bit help, and I'm gonna get it now. See me on the way.
Stinking in the trench, stalking like a leech. It could conceive your conscience, all this for the bitch. But what is the use? Dying like a fool. Would they give me credit, deserve ashes, or just to tally up? Buddy, no. No, 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 never know. This scarlet fever makes me fall. Rest in habitus. See things in jails brew. Sell me a fago, mister. Let me stay at home. Then I pawn my watch. My pelvis aches and down. Saw too many things, piece of cheese before the blast had come. That's the only way. That's the only way. I feel tired. Carnius, carotid, carnius. Guts full of smoke and trash, sleeping in no quiet. Being gravity could not reach me. Was it class to fight? But what's the syllable? Would it set my soul? Brashness counts a lot. For what calendars could I keep? I took